Keep date night easy with Surf and Turf from Market House. Let me show you how we cook it. Let's fire up our grill and cook some Surf and Turf. All right, we're gonna give our grill about 15 to 18 minutes to kind of burn in our charcoal chimney here. We're gonna get it dumped in and then get our grill up to temp. Market House made it easy and simple. We're having an easy date night at home, and tonight it looks like it's gonna be steak and lobster, a little Surf and Turf. So it looks like we've got two 14 to 16 ounce Australian lobster tails and two 5-ounce prime fillets. And to be prime, these look like Wagyu. They are really marbled up. I can't wait to sear those babies off. And look at the size of these Australian lobster tails. Wow. Now a Maine lobster tail is only about 6 to 7 ounces, and Australians grow about double that. They're still buttery, velvety, and so delicious. All right, as you can see, our charcoal is almost ashed over. It's not but a couple pieces that's still black, but everything else is just whited over. So our grill is ready to be set up. We're gonna set this up for 2-zone grilling. And what that means, half of the grill is gonna have coals on it and half is not. So anytime we're cooking our steak and we need to move it off that fire, we can just move it over here where no fire is hitting it. Once we get a pretty color on it or sear it off, we can always move it and let it come on up to temp. Now, with the fire over here, I want to make sure that I put my draw on the opposite side, on the cool side. So that way when we move our meat over to the no fire zone, it's still going to draw that residual heat over it and finish cooking it a lot better. Now, the first hole is going to be all the way open. I'm going to check mine back to about halfway right here. That's where I'm going to keep it at. All right, we've got our 10-inch pan here with 4 sticks of butter in it. I'm gonna melt this down. I'm gonna go get my lobster out of my tails while this is melting and kind of chunk it up into chunk meat. Now you can choose to grill the lobster out whole, but I wanna butter poach it to keep it soft to go in our lobster mac and cheese. We're making the ultimate Surf and Turf today, and just plain lobster is good, but lobster mac and cheese with all those cheeses and creaminess against a great steak just can't be beat in my opinion. The best thing about Market House is they ship overnight on all their orders. It's delivered straight to your door. You don't have to do anything. And it's great when you can get good quality meat, whether you want Wagyu, beef, pork, chicken, seafood, no matter what, they have it all. And when you can get big lobster tails like this, whoo, look at that. The Market House Surf and Turf is the perfect meal for a great date night at home, with saving a little bit of money and still eating a spectacular meal. Now you just would go down the back or the front of the lobster, whichever one you prefer, and kind of bust it open out of the shell. And I'm gonna cut this in on the top and bottom. Now if you wanna save a little money, be sure to use the code HEATH15. It'll get you 15% off site-wide. Oh yeah. Now for me, I always trim just a little bit of excess off. That's just me. You don't have to do that. Now, for me, you've got 2 choices right here. You can take your lobster tails and throw it in your water with your macaroni noodles if you want to. For me, I don't do that, but if you want to impart more lobster flavor, you 100% can. Now I went through and I washed all these off to ensure and dried them off. There were no shell pieces or anything on them. So what I'm gonna do, like this lobster tail tore in half and I was already gonna cut it in half anyway. So I'm just gonna take my scissors, and you see that, just create some big chunks. That's all we're doing. I just want to get this down into bite-sized pieces. Now some people may wait and cook their whole lobster tail or butter poach it or whatever, then cut it down. I cut mine in little pieces beforehand. That's just the way I like doing my lobster mac and cheese. All right, now let's make this one a little easier. Let's go right down the middle. All right, there's our lobster. And I can tell y'all, that's a lot of lobster for lobster mac and cheese. When you have a whole Maine lobster, you're probably getting about the same amount of meat and that's knuckle meat and all. But these Australian lobster tails from Market House, with them being 14 to 16 ounces a piece, it's like this lobster mac and cheese is gonna be a meal of its own. So only having 5-ounce fillets a piece, this makes a perfect date night meal. All right, as you can see, our butter is melted here. It's got that good white foam on top. You can see it. So this lobster's not gonna take long here, okay? Now you can see why I done so much butter. I want to make sure I submerge this lobster. It's almost like boil it in butter. I want to make it good. Now we're just gonna get our lid on this and give this about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm probably gonna stir it around in between, but it's not gonna take long to poach this lobster. Now let's get in here and get our noodles to boiling, because we know it's not gonna take long. All right, I've melted 4 tablespoons of butter. Now I've got 3 tablespoons of flour. Now you just wanna cook this down to get your flour taste out. We're just making a roux. Now you can see this flour starting to change color. And that's when you know you've about got all that taste cooked out of it, that flour taste. Now you can choose to add another tablespoon of flour if you want. You can go 4 tablespoons. It's completely up to you. Now I've got 2 cups of half and half right here. Now you can go as far up to 2.5 cups. I'm gonna dump this in and start getting my roux made. Now the big thing about it, while that's coming up and starting to thicken, I'm gonna use a teaspoon of ground mustard. Now I'm gonna use some garlic jalapeno rub. If you've got a favorite salt pepper rub, use it of your choice. Just season that to your heart's desire. Now I'm gonna come back with a little bit of our Parmesan garlic seasoning too. It's up to you if you use some of that as well. Now we're just gonna let this slowly come to a boil and start to thicken. And then we're gonna start adding some cheeses. So I've got a little over a cup of Gruyere, a little over a cup of Gouda, and cheddar. 3 kinds of cheeses here and a block of cream cheese. And I will tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and put this cream cheese in. And that's why I didn't use as much flour. Start melting my cream cheese. Now I'm just breaking this cream cheese blocks into smaller little pieces, and it's just gonna help it melt a little bit faster. Gonna kind of take my silicone spatula and just kind of mash it down. Now you can see the way that cream cheese started to thicken that up only, so we're gonna go ahead and add that other 1/2 cup of half and half. And you know what I forgot to do? Is add a little bit of hot sauce. Now you're not gonna taste that hot sauce, it just helps balance everything out. All right, I'm gonna start throwing in some cheese. And now that we've got most of our cheese incorporated, I wanna come in here and take a little taste of this and make sure it's seasoned enough. Wow. All right, I'm cutting that cheese sauce off, and I'm gonna save the rest of this cheese to go in this. Wow, y'all, that is incredible. All right, we've got our water boiling here. Let's get our top off. We're gonna get some elbow macaroni noodles in here. These have a little bit of texture to them. You use whatever kind of noodle you like. You wanna boil 1 pound of pasta, about 6 to 7 minutes, just till it's al dente. Now we do wanna salt our water. I'm gonna get that lid on. Let's get this come back to a boil. We'll be back to strain our noodles and make this lobster mac and cheese. I think that lobster is done, y'all. Look at that, it's perfect, it's tender. Whew. I'm gonna go ahead and get this off right here and get it out of this hot butter. All right, one of the first things we wanna do to get ready for our lobster mac and cheese is I've got 4 tablespoons of butter melted, and I've got a little over 1/2 cup of panko here. Excuse me, 3 tablespoons of butter. Why did I say 4? Thinking about what I put in the lobster. Well, you just want to get this mixed around here is all you're trying to do, and make a good buttery top for your lobster mac and cheese. Now, first thing we want to do is get them dried off. You want to make sure your steak is good and dry, because any excess moisture on that steak, the steak's not gonna get a good sear on it at all. Now with these only being 5-ounce fillets, letting them sit out at room temp here, And to me, 5 ounces is the perfect amount of meat when you've got lobster too and side dishes and a salad and all that. I don't even order a huge 16-ounce ribeye when I go out to eat. If we do, me and my wife split it. That's just us. So once you get all your excess dried off, and like I said, you can see the marbling in these right here. They almost look like Wagyu. To be prime, there's some good looking steaks. Now, I'm just going my garlic butter today. If you've got a favorite seasoning, be sure to use it. All right, we're just gonna let them hang out here on the cutting board a while. Let's check our noodles and get ready to mix up our lobster mac and cheese. All right, we've got our 1 pound of pasta noodles here, boiled and drained. Now, I've got some excess butter left over on my lobster here, and so I'm not adding any butter to my noodles. You can if you want to, but I can even see the little bit of excess butter in here. I'm going in with that lobster just like that. Now, for the star of the show, this cheese sauce. Now, let's just get it all out of our pan and in here and mix it all up. Look at that, y'all. That is creamy lobster mac and cheese. Oh my God, y'all. All right, once we get all of our lobster mac and cheese mixed up here, I'm gonna get it back in my Yeti cast iron pan. If I can get a hold of it here. Now, I'm gonna go about half of that, spread it out. Y'all already know I gotta put a little bit more cheese in here. So once you get all that mounded up like you want to there, I'm gonna take a little bit more of this excess cheese and just put a little bit more on there. Y'all know it's time to come back with those breadcrumbs. Now, if you're not a fan of breadcrumbs, you don't have to use them. It's completely up to you. You can also do Ritz crackers crushed up if you don't want to use panko breadcrumbs. All right, once you get that all done up, got that buttery crust on it, we've got our oven heated to 400 degrees. And so why sear these steaks off on this grill? You're more than welcome to use a grill if you want to finish this off. But with the steaks, I want to take that lid off, get some char on those steaks, while this right here is getting a nice golden crust on it. So let's pop it in the oven and get ready to go grill our steaks. All right, our lobster mac and cheese is in the oven cooking, and that means it's only one thing left to do. And that's grill some steaks. We've got our grill running about 400 degrees. We've got it running almost 500 degrees. I've got a little bit of butter here. You know, one way to guarantee a flame, drop a little butter on, right? That is it. So when you want to get a little char grilled action going, when you first set down your steak, that's all you got to do. Now, these are some nice 5-ounce fillets, like I said, kind of tall. You can tell they come almost right past the Chateaubriand on the tenderloin, at least I can. I'm just gonna let them cook right here for a couple minutes on that side. I'm gonna give them about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and I wanna get char all the way around that thing, so I'm not just focusing on the two surfaces. I'm gonna be rolling it and flipping it even on the sides. All right, I'm gonna say that steak is done 126 degrees. This other one was 128. I'm gonna pull them. Probably overshot them by just a minute, to be truthful with you. I like pulling them about 125 myself, but they'll be okay. Put the lid back on our grill. Let's get in the house, take our lobster mac and cheese out of the oven. Ooh, would you look at that? All right, guys, we are off the grill and out of the stove. Our lobster mac and cheese had a total cook time of about an additional 20 minutes in the stove. You can see it browned up really good on top. I cannot wait to get in it. Our steaks had a total cook time of about 8 or 9 minutes, even though they set out about an hour beforehand. They were still kind of chilled in the middle. You can see all we did was just steady flip them and flip them and flip them, and they got a great looking color on them. But one thing's for sure, let's get in here. And I'm gonna cut this in half. Let's go both of them. Let's cut them in half. And let's do some reveal shots for these fillets. Well, I'll take that all day long for my fillet. And that one too. Those are perfectly cooked fillets. We know we've got a good lobster mac and cheese. So let's get in here and make a plate now. Before I do that, let's recap this mac and cheese. We took 1 pound of elbow noodles, boiled them up. We made a roux with some tablespoons of flour, a little bit of butter. We then added some half and half milk, come back with some seasoning and some ground mustard in it. We added Gouda cheese, cheddar cheese, and Gruyere cheese. All those cheeses mixed together, we saved a little bit. We had a little over a cup of each one, about a cup and a half. So I had about a cup and a half total left that I put kind of in the middle and on top before I put the breadcrumbs on top. Now we took two 14 to 16 ounce lobster tails from Market House, kind of butter poached them on our grill in our cast iron pan and nothing but butter. And I can tell y'all the few snack pieces I had were incredible. We cooked these fillets up, just juicy and tender as they could be. Now, I'm going for this filet right here. And let's get some of this lobster mac and cheese. This beautiful lobster mac and cheese right here smells incredible. And I gotta get in here and I've got a bite of lobster, all the cheeses. Let's try it out. This is incredible. I'm gonna be straight. If she don't like this, she better get them D papers ready. You know what I'm saying? We'll see y'all next time with another great meal.